You have just witnessed some of my conversation with Nadine's brother and potential donor. It may surprise you to learn how truly shocked he was when he found out that Nadine wants him to donate a kidney to her. His first question was, why didn't she just ask? I cannot explain often enough that most patients in need of a kidney transplant are too afraid to ask anyone to become their living donor. They're afraid of being thought of as unreasonable and running the risk of damaging their relationships with family and friends. They sometimes feel isolated or depressed and may even think of themselves as a burden. Many patients take it for granted that those close to them know what they're going through, and that is not always the case. On the other side of the coin, patients ask, if my family and friends really care, why haven't they offered to donate a kidney? Not everyone knows that the waiting list is growing by the minute and that there are already too many thousands waiting for far too few available kidneys. The number of living donors is certainly not growing as fast as would have been hoped. Folks, sick patients go to work or school after dialysis, and some do not realize what these patients go through. The dry heaving, the awful retching and weakness from trying to do something as simple as brushing their teeth. That is why it is so important to have the talk. Having the talk does not mean that it will definitely result in a donation, but when all is said and done, you may very well gain a kidney, so what do you have to lose? There are patients who had the talk right after receiving the diagnosis of end-stage renal disease, sprang into action, and never spent one session on dialysis. Don't get me wrong. We thank God for dialysis and the kind souls who provide care for those patients. For those of you who are on the waiting list, you have done well. But for some of you, it is now time to seek out your living donor, time to claim your second chance. If you have already had someone tested and your would-be donor has been found to be incompatible, it is not necessarily the end of the road. There are others out there in the same situation. Working together can result in what is known as a paired donation or paired exchange, which simply means a swap of donors' organs, making the transplants possible. So to wrap up, if you are too afraid to ask someone to consider becoming your living donor, don't be afraid to ask the Minority Organ Tissue Transplant Education Program MOTTEP for help. It is important you know the program's limitations. Medical questions must be left for the medical professionals to answer. And there are no stupid questions. At no point will the decision to go forward or not to go forward be in MOTTEP's hands. At no point will there be any rush or pressure. Be warned, the answer may not come as soon as you would like and may not be what you had hoped for. If the answer is yes, the potential donor will be put in contact with the transplant facility at which the candidate is listed. Neither the candidate for transplantation nor MOTTEP will have access to any conversations between the potential donor and that facility. That information is strictly confidential. And in an effort to give time for the donor to be sure, interviews take months. Bearing in mind that a donor has the right to say no up to the very end, it is also true that no sane person raises one's hope for a donation only for a joke. While MOTTEP cannot guarantee that our efforts will result in a yes, we can guarantee that we will do the very best we can to make it easiest for all concerned. So call USVI MOTTEP at 340-642-2623. Miracles still happen. Time is of the essence. Don't be afraid to ask. I am Lillian Sutherland. Thank you. Miracles still happen. Time is of the essence. Don't be afraid to ask.
A Precision production.